kind of like my motto, my company's motto is free the humans. Like,
nice. I love that.
Let the robots do the robot stuff, and let the humans do more of the human stuff. AI is just a complicated machine that guesses the next thing that's going to happen, whether it's a pixel or a word. I want you to think about the next word. Whatever word pops into your mind, think of it and then just say it. So when I say the Lord of the
Rings.
Why did you say rings? Why didn't you say oranges?
I thought flies.
Or flies.
Straight out
Yeah.
the gate, yeah.
There was a report out I saw just a little bit ago that social media usage is dropping in Gen Z.
That's
Like
crazy.
it's
Yeah.
dropping, like general social media usage. And you could say, it's mental health, it's, a bunch of other reasons. I think it's also partially, there's just so much more fake stuff online too.
Yeah.
And the initial reason of social media was to connect humans.
Well, welcome back to the Paragon Podcast, everyone. Here we talk about video marketing, and today we're excited to have Preston from Scail with us. We're going to talk a lot about all the different aspects of AI agents, and how it can work with marketers. So stay tuned. Yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Preston?
Sure. Yeah. So I kind of have a little bit of a unique background, actually. I started off in sales. I was always roped into sales jobs, and I think there was just the entrepreneur in me. There's a lot of entrepreneurs in my family going back generations. Very successful too. I knew I was going to eventually go into business, but I was like, let's go learn a technical skill. So I got an engineering degree, and I worked as two different types of engineers for 7 years. And then there were some fluctuations in the tech market, and so my whole team was laid off, and I was like, all right, now's the time.
Yeah.
Let's do this. So I decided to start my own thing. I had done some like little entrepreneurial endeavors, kind of sprinkled throughout that time and when I was younger too. But when it finally was like, okay, career, change, that was the like pivotal cataclysmic event, I guess, that like started it off. I was like, all right, now I'm going from that wantrepreneur to the entrepreneur.
Nice.
So
I like that. I haven't heard entrepreneur.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a fun word.
There's a lot
There's
of
a lot of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
a
Oh, yeah.
lot of
Absolutely.
entrepreneurs out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sweet. Well, it's cool. Like you had that great opportunity, and you took the opportunity, right? I think there's a lot of people that have that, and they're like, "I'm not ready," right?
Yeah.
And you just went for it. That's awesome.
yeah, I was just waiting for it.
And that's when you started Scail.
That's when I started Scail. Yeah. So actually, there was a lot of layoffs happening at my company, and so I was kind of like prepping beforehand. So I actually started Scail before my whole team was addressed and hit in the 5th round of layoffs.
Nice.
So
Well, that's
So I was
smart.
like-
Good prep.
yeah. So when I got the news, I was like, all right.
Time to go.
It
See you
wasn't.
later.
It wasn't, this devastating thing. It was like almost exciting, like, all right, cool. It's time to do this,
Cool. And what was kind of your objective when you started that?
Yeah. So when I was going through college, I actually got a manufacturing degree, and that was way before ChatGPT had hit, the world and blew the lid off. And there was a lot of craze around 3D printing and additive manufacturing. Everyone was like, oh, 3D printing's the new thing. We can print this and that. And there was a lot of movement around, well, how do we adopt 3D printing technology? And I was actually part of a company that helped businesses do that. And what I found is that most often businesses weren't willing or ready or didn't have the capital to just toss out everything and start again. It was usually, what are we already doing and how can we like insert the new technology into like a little piece, right? And so when AI happened and then I was laid off, I was like, okay, there's got to be a way to do the same thing, like plug AI into a business, into what's already working without telling them you have to throw everything out. You have to fire all your people. It's like you're already doing stuff. It's already working. It's already making money. It's already making customers happy. Well, how can you then take something from AI and plug it in to what's already working? And then over time, right, you can add more and more and more. And then I kind of, through the experience in manufacturing and with AI and other things, I kind of looked back and I was like, really, every revolution is just a bunch of tiny evolutions, right? It's like if you guys were doing, nothing with AI, but then you plug in AI in one system or one process, and then you plug it in somewhere else, and okay, now we kind of know what we're doing. We got a feel for it. Now let's put AI receptionist that can answer phone calls or whatever fits, and then all of a sudden you are now like an AI company. because you have done so many different evolutions, and now it's like a revolution. And so I wanted to help businesses do that because I knew there was going to be a way to do it. So I took some time off, went and figured it out, and I was like, all right, I think I got it now. And that's basically now my business model is I talk to businesses like, hey, here's this process. We can plug in AI here or here or here. And it's just small. As long as it's consistent, has to be reliable, has to make you money or lower costs or leverage your time. As long as we can do that, then we just do one little thing. Hey, now you're an AI company too, even though you're a plumber.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I think that's huge. I mean, going into somebody going, hey, we're not going to change the whole, kit and caboodle. Like, we're going to take this one step at a time, and just try to make things more efficient. I think, like that's kind of what it comes down to. And AI is great. It's kind of been an interesting thing. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people think that they just need to throw away everything, replace all their people, but it makes way more sense just to, bits at a time.
Yeah. And so the pieces you're kind of introducing into marketing, right? You have AI agents that you're working with. You kind of work into CRMs, right? Can you tell me a little bit more about that and how that helps marketers?
Sure. Yeah. So AI today is not reliable enough to replace humans. I hate all the hype you see on social media and like LinkedIn, and they say, fire all your sales team because this one agent does it all. It's like, yeah, but do your customers really want to talk to that? And also, just the way that AI works, like mistakes are just built in to the architecture. It's just, there's no way around it. So it's like, are you okay with putting something into your business that has a 10% fail rate? Like, probably not.
Yeah, especially that's not going to go back and look at its own work and correct it without being prompted. And you have to go through and say, hey, you messed this up, right?
Exactly. So instead, what I like to focus on is a system or a process, right? What is a robotic, repetitive process that a person is doing that's interfacing with technology? Let's let AI handle that process, because if we give it specific guardrails, it can actually do a pretty good job. And then what I kind of like my motto, my company's motto is free the humans. Like,
nice. I love that.
Let the robots do the robot stuff and let the humans do more of the human stuff. One of the best comparisons is like early automotive manufacturing, right? So Henry Ford invented the assembly line. And there's just a guy who sits there and he turns that wrench, and the next guy sprays the paint or whatever it may be, right? And then over time, it was like, okay, well, now let's give the guy a power drill. Okay, well, now let's replace the guy with a robot arm, right? Now the robots are basically building the cars, but the robots aren't designing the cars. That comes from a human's brain, and the planning and all of that comes from the human. So it's like, let the humans do what they do best, which is human connection and creativity and innovation, new ideas, actual the emotion behind content, stuff like that, and then let the robots, AI, do the building. Let it do the execution, the interfacing with technology. Yeah. So like when it comes to CRMs and stuff, it's like, let the salespeople talk to the people on the phone, right? Let the salespeople do all of that because that's the magic. That's what's special. And then when they need to get everything out of their brain into the computer, that's a great opportunity for AI to take over that kind of process.
Yeah.
Right. So it's more like the execution of something and then maybe the extraction of something to then let the humans do what they do best. Because I just don't believe in, replacing humans with AI. I'm like, I run an AI company, but I'm like an AI skeptic. Like anytime AI something comes out, I'm like, no, that's cool. That's a party trick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and
what's useful?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to look at it. And I like the way you talk about freeing the humans and they're able to design and be creative. It's fun. Last night I was talking to my dad, actually. He's been a video game programmer forever, since the 90s. And he's just really gotten into vibe coding now, basically. And it's fun talking to him because he's like, I didn't think I'd like it at all, because he loves programming. He just is always adding his own programs to his computer and stuff. And he's like, now it's great because it was something would have taken me 2 weeks, but it was really quick. And now I'm able to really design stuff, and it's actually a lot more fun than it's ever been.
What's in his brain out.
Yeah, immediately.
Which has always been one of the biggest hangups.
Yeah.
Even an artist, let's say they may have something that's in their brain, but it takes them a long time to put onto a canvas or something, right? And even a video editor, like you guys know this firsthand, right? It's like it's 30 to however many hours, 30 to 60 hours for one video, when it's like, I know what I want, but I have to do the click, 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 right? And so AI is very quickly, at least I think the most appropriate, slide into our daily lives is handling the click, 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 and then you're able to just kind of like be the director and let it be the stage crew in a way.
And so going back a little bit, you talked a little bit about giving it rails and stuff, and you're saying, hey, you're going to do this job, and these are the guidelines and stuff. And we've kind of had a little bit of that with like Zapier and stuff, and it's more automated, but then it has to be step by step. How does AI differ in those fields than like something that you set up automated wise?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for the last decade and a half, it's all been code, right? And it's like there's this situation and this is what you do. But then what happens when it's outside of that situation? It's like an if-else statement. It's like, if this, do this, else, I don't know, put it in this bucket, And then someone had to fill that gap. Well, AI can actually now kind of fill that gap and say, there's almost this range of possibilities, and I kind of want you to be a little more flexible in how you deal with this thing.
Cool.
So like someone calls in and they could talk about anything from A to Z, and you may only be able to code A through G, but you can say, hey, H through Z, AI, I want you to handle these situations and kind of funnel it this direction, or just escalate it, So like if you're talking about CRM integration, someone's calling in and they just have a basic question. Well, AI could say, well, based off of this knowledge base I can access, I can answer that basic question. If it doesn't fit on the knowledge base, well, I'm going to escalate that to a human. And you can almost just write in natural language rules instead of having to have someone code something into a program. So you can still execute stuff in a software and digitally, but just by typing it with regular English, like your dad, being able to get anything out of his mind just by being the director and typing it out, right? So yeah, that's AI is really good that way. What I like to tell people is AI is like the bowling alley with the bumpers on. So, and that's actually a really good AI, where it's like you can go down this lane and you can go wherever you want down this lane, but you have to stay within the bumpers, And so once you hit a limit, boom, you're coming back, and boom, you're coming back. AI gets dangerous when there aren't proper guardrails, and it can just gonk, go right in the gutter and have a terrible experience with someone and just totally not work. And everyone's experienced that with dealing with an AI or dealing just with like a automated call system. It's like, I don't fit in this bucket that you've designed for me, but AI will allow you, business owners, to kind of have that lane. It's like, we can funnel people here, but.
Cool.
Well, that's what that's like, obviously I think everybody's been on the other end of a phone call that's like, is this a person? And then you start like playing with it and you start saying weird things to see what it would respond. Like, obviously there are companies that use it. How effective are those call bots or the chat box right now at actually like dealing with somebody's actual issues, right? Because I've never actually had an actual great, it's like, oh, that was great. That was actually helpful. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Oh yeah. And most of the time, because businesses haven't, for the most part, adopted AI like a call center, right? They just have some pre-programmed thing that's like, if this, else do this.
Right.
And most people, like I do, whenever I'm like, call Verizon, like, representative.
Exactly.
Representative. I don't care what they say. Representative. Like, put me in that bucket and forward me to that number because I don't want to deal with this right now.
Yeah.
But AI will be able to have access to internal documents. And those can be live. Those can be dynamic. It can have access to very specific people. And because it's filtering kind of like the basic questions, now actually your call team might actually have more time to actually get those people who have that custom problem. That's like one of the powers of it. So.
And so when you're implementing this stuff, right, you're still typing in English basically, right, to this. When you set up with a company, can they then change the guardrails themselves? Do they come through you again? How does that ongoing process work once they have integrated AI into their company?
That's a great question. And I do think that's going to be the future, where you kind of access a platform. That's the end of the revolution after a lot of evolutions. And there's going to be some platform you come to, and it's like, I want this hooked into my business, and it'll just do it. And like, I want this changed. And like, there are tools that are starting to resemble that. We're not there yet, though.
Okay.
So for now, it's almost like the early days of the internet, where you could go and code up a website yourself, or you could hire a web developer who can build your website. And you say, I want this on my website. I want an about page. I want a contact you page. And you kind of relay that information to that expert, and then he implements it. But the cool thing now is our velocity of change and development is even faster because of AI tools. So when I build something for a business and they say, I want this changed, I can do that in a matter of minutes or hours.
Yeah.
Whereas previously it was like, okay, I got to code this up. Now I got to test it. Now I got to put it in, staging. Then I'm going to put it in production. Now that's, deployed weeks later, right? So the velocity of being able to change is faster, but it's still like, you kind of have to have an AI automation partner, like Scail. That's what I do, is like, what do you want to do with AI? And then we'll just come up with a solution. And for now, that's still pretty custom. But I do see that eventually it'll kind of be almost like a self-serve, do-all kind of platform.
Yeah, and that kind of goes back to my dad vibe coding and stuff. And we were talking about it, he's like, he could do it because when something goes wrong, he knows exactly where the AI probably went wrong, and so he can say, "Hey, check here," and it goes right to it and stuff, and it can fix quick.
Yep.
Whereas if I got it and I got the code, I'd be like, "Well, I don't know what to do with this anymore."
Yeah, so it's broken.
and
I've been in that, and I've seen people where they're just like, "No, that's wrong. It's broken," and it's like, "Let me try to fix this." Hey, I fixed it. No, you didn't. That's still wrong.
Yeah, you still kind of got to teach it and coach it along, and you have to. You still need to be an expert, right?
Yeah.
And I think there'll always be a room for an expert with AI, and so it's just you got to become the expert in something. So
yeah, and so what I like to tell people, because people almost always, when I show them behind the curtain, and they're like, "This is how it works," and they're like, "Oh my gosh," their mind starts racing. Can we do this? Can we do that? And what I like to tell people is like, as long as you have the right expectation of how AI works. So AI is just a complicated machine that guesses the next thing that's going to happen, whether it's a pixel or a word. So I'll give you a quick little, I like to do this with people.
Yeah.
So you know how AI works. So if I say, I want you to think about the next word, whatever word pops into your mind, think of it and then just say it. So when I say the Lord of the
Rings.
Why did you say rings? Why didn't you say oranges?
I thought flies.
Oh,
Or
there you go.
flies.
Straight out
Yeah.
the gate, yeah.
Or like enchiladas? Why didn't you say why did you say rings?
Yeah, I mean it's on my mind a lot more than anything else. So.
Right? But it was the first word that was most likely to complete that sentence.
Yeah.
Right? But if I do something else and I say like Star
Wars.
Wars,
Yeah,
because now you're in the mindset of like movies, right? Or
Well, I'm always there, but yeah.
aren't we all? We're all in our bathroom with our right. So, but that could have been like star-studded cast, starlight, starburst, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It could have been, but if you were to maybe like put a probability on wars or something else to follow that word, you would then say, well, it's most likely this, so that's what I'm going to guess, final answer, right? That's all AI is doing. It's building a sentence and guessing what the next word should be based off of the input. So when it writes you something, it has no real context of nuance that it can be like, oh yeah, this is definitely true, or this is accurate. It's just, well, based off of the context I have, this is most likely the next word in the sentence. When it's building video or pictures, it's like, this is most likely the next color pixel. And it builds the image pixel by pixel. And there's different, that's a really simplified way of like looking at it. So that's why the mistakes are built in to it, because it can't have that human context of past, present, future, of experience, of really bigger context to know like, well, you know what? I think that flies maybe didn't work here. Maybe it is rings, right? And that all actually depends on its context and its training set. So if AI if you give the full books of Lord of the Rings and all the stuff on the internet to it, it's most likely going to pick rings because flies doesn't talk about as much, right? So if it doesn't have much context, it can actually maybe pick a different word, and you can give it the same prompt 5 times in a row and it'll have a different result every time. So that's where kind of it turns into a bit of a mad science. Like, as long as you understand how it works, then you can say, okay, well, I know you're probably going to make a mistake, and so we're going to, that's what I was talking about, the bowling alley, right? Yeah. It's like, where do you put those bumpers? How narrow, how wide, how tall, how strong? So maybe it, like, you know, goes out a little bit. Yeah, so it really, right now, it really is a mad science. It's not guaranteed. So I can't just say, hey, now you have an AI receptionist that answers all your emails, or phone calls, or SMS, and it's reliable every single time. Yeah. Because it's really just, it's guessing the next word to put in its answer. And the better you get, the more you understand about how to constrain it properly and how to give it the right context, the more accurate, the more reliable it's going to be and consistent. So that's kind of like, I set people up with that expectation. Like, as long as you know that it's just a word guesser, and it's getting better, but it's still just a word guesser, then you're like, okay, well, then how can we put this in a way that it will succeed and bring real value to the business?
Cool.
So
yeah, I love that. That's awesome. How do you feel like it's doing in the video space now? Like, there's been a lot of changes in it, right? We went from the Will Smith eating spaghetti to now it looks pretty good. Like,
looks pretty good.
Do you feel like that's a good evolution? Do you feel like we're going to get to a point where it's indistinguishable? Because I still think you can tell.
Yeah.
But do you think we'll get there? How do you see that moving?
Well, I mean, just look at it. You know, if you kind of like give a guess on our next trajectory, right? Yes. And that's scary because, unfortunately, the capability of technology always outpaces security and the ramifications. You know, we're always able to do more than we can protect, which is unfortunate. And it's always lagging behind like at least 5 to 10 years. And so, yeah, it's a slippery slope with video and with deep fakes, and even just with like what they call, I forgot the term, where you can video yourself and in real time you are recorded as something else. Like, I think that's like it's like active personalization or something like that. You know, I could put a filter on myself and now I'm Robert Downey Jr. or I'm an orc or you know, I'm a fairy or something, and I can video that. And the main giveaway right now is the mouth. Yeah. That's like the biggest giveaway.
It never lines up. It never lines up perfect.
Never lines up. And there's some times where it's like 90%, 99% there.
Yeah, it's close.
And then that one thing triggers the uncanny valley, and you're like,
yeah,
that's AI.
The other thing, too, that I've noticed a lot, and this is kind of going back to what you're talking about, where it's just guessing in the end, right? Guessing what the next pixel will be, is it's never consistent frame to frame. And so if you ever watch frame to frame AI video, it's like really, really obvious that it's like, oh, wow, that's like a totally different face all of a sudden that appeared on screen.
That has been the thing, but a recent release a couple months ago called Google Nano actually fixed that.
Oh, okay.
So that from scene to scene to scene, you can have a consistent design of a character or whatever it may be. It is consistent.
Yeah, I mostly meant just like the lighting sometimes, like when they move and stuff, like the lighting doesn't quite, like, they do, the consistency across scenes, great.
Yes.
But frame to frame, there's sometimes a little bit of a wobble and stuff that it doesn't quite get there because it is, like you said, guessing.
It is guessing. Yeah. And so this is what I say to people, like specifically businesses, right? Like, video AI, what do I do with this? A lot of people will view it as a crutch. You know, they're like, oh, well, now I can create 5 videos this week, right? But those may be crap videos. And they're going to be, it's just going to add to the slop pile. Yeah. Right? So, but those who have experience, those who kind of know what a good video feels like and good editing and good lighting and these other things, it's now an accelerant for what they can already do. So they'll be able to do more, and they'll actually have a better idea also of where to plug it in. It's like, no, I'm not going to have it do this, but I will have it maybe auto caption. I will maybe have it do a quick edit, like a initial draft edit, and then I will go in as the expert and fine tune this so that it has the emotional appeal that I want it to, right? Because I'm the expert and I know what's best. I'm the human, right? And so I tell people, like, don't outsource your decision making to AI. Because it is inherently, inconsistent. It inherently does not tell the truth all the time. Yeah. So because I'm very sensitive to any kind of like video slop, and like you go on social media now and it's just like you're scrolling and it's like you're watching a video clip or something from a movie and there's an AI voiceover telling you every single thing that's happening frame by frame, and you're like,
and half the time it's not even true. It's not even like correct. If you've seen the movie, you're like, well, that's actually not what's happening at all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or there's like a compilation and it's like very strangely cut together and it stops prematurely, or it seems the video is going to keep going, but then it ends. You're like, what? And it kind of leaves you with this like weird fake feeling. And it's like, I don't want this anymore.
Yep.
I don't want to engage with this.
Right. Well, and we've kind of chatted before. I mean, you mentioned something that like, you know, when, and I can't remember exactly how it was said, but we're talking about how AI is kind of making people not want to use social media because there's so much fake out there. And as soon as you notice that the mouth is off, or as soon as you see that, you're like, I don't want to watch this anymore. And then it's every third, fourth video, maybe every second video is AI. So, and then you're like, well, nothing is true on social media anymore, so I'm just going to stop using it. Yeah. Which is crazy.
Yeah. There was a report out I saw just a little bit ago that social media usage is dropping in Gen Z.
That's
like,
crazy.
It's dropping, like general social media usage. And you could say, you know, it's mental health. It's, you know, a bunch of other reasons. I think it's also partially, there's just so much more fake stuff online too.
Yeah.
And the initial reason of social media was to connect humans over the internet. And now it's like, who wants to go on the internet and just connect with robots? Like, no one. Like, we go there to connect with humans. So there's actually also YouTube. It was some other report. I can't remember the exact reference, but it was people are moving away from short form content and moving towards long form because it's more verifiable that there are humans connecting with each other, having real conversations in a long form content, because like AI can't create that.
Right.
It can definitely do a short form video. Yeah. And it's even pretty cheap to do that, but to try to create
the cost
like
of this,
it'd be impossible for it to create this kind of, maybe someday, you know.
Not right now.
Not right now.
Not right now.
Yeah, not right now.
But what I tell businesses, voice AI, basically like like whenever I see something AI, I'm thinking, what are you hiding behind? Why can't you show me your face? And it sows immediate distrust, you know? So if you're a business, why would you hide behind something? It makes you look, especially with the scam and spam just like blowing up our lives and just never leaving us alone in our email boxes, on our phones now, everywhere. And even online, it's like you see a video and you're like, that's a scam. Yeah. You know? Mm-hmm. And so it's like, if you're going to use an AI avatar or you're going to create AI, people are going to think like, what are you hiding behind? Why, even if you're imperfect, even if your lighting isn't great, even if your microphone sucks, why are you hiding? Mm-hmm. What do you have to hide? Why would I become your customer? Mm-hmm. Right.
Well, and we've talked about on the podcast before that social media is even creating this shift from being social to really just entertainment, right? And TikTok's been the biggest way to that. I mean, sure, you have followers, like think on TikTok. I don't even have TikTok, but like it's literally just people that want to continue seeing your content. It's not you know those people. And so to your point, you know, if you are hiding behind this facade of this AI and you're giving information, that information just may come off as false, even if it is true. And so as a business owner, you're wanting to give free information, you know, whether or not it's for entertainment value or just information value. And if you're not doing it yourself, it totally could hurt you. Could hurt you.
Yeah. How do you think that businesses can overcome that and still use AI, right? Because you still want to use it. It's still a powerful tool. Yep. And I'm not against just having some AI in your videos too, right?
Oh, yeah.
But so how do you think that can be integrated for marketers?
So have you ever been to Broadway and have you ever watched a Broadway musical or something like that?
I mean, I'm not Broadway. I'm not that rich, but like
I stood outside the building and went, no.
Well, I went there for my senior trip.
Sweet.
So I got lucky. There was a group going. And we went and we saw Mary Poppins. And I was like, okay, it was just part of the program. Mm-hmm. We didn't get to pick it, but we went to go see Mary Poppins. And I was sitting there in that theater and I watched Mary Poppins. And some of the things that they did, I was like, I have absolutely no idea how they did that. It felt like Mary Poppins teleported from one place on the stage all the way to another place. And like during the chimney sweep song or whatever, like They hooked him up to some cables, and he tap danced all the way up the side of the stage, upside down, and then all the way down.
That's awesome.
And it just felt like magic.
Yeah.
Right? But like, if I had gone there and all of the actors were robots, I would have been pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I would have been like,
Yeah.
this is not what I came to watch. You know, if I wanted to watch, I would have just watched it on my TV. You know, I came to be mystified in magic, and it was the humans too. Like, man, the kid actors were awesome too. Kid actors, I can't remember the name of the two names in the movie, but they were awesome. And so that's kind of my mindset with like AI. It's like, you can use it to things that create the magic, but as long as the humans are in the spotlight, as long as the humans are the ones behind the camera, right?
Cool.
So create your content, film yourself, film your friends, film your business, what's real. And then you can use AI to create the magic on the back end to deliver that to everyone else. So like, if you want to simplify it, humans are in the spotlight and AI can be the stage crew and create the props, create the stage, you know, lights, music, all that kind of stuff. That's kind of the general guideline. So use it for systems, use it for automations, but as long as you are authentic, you know, like let it almost, another way to put it is, you are the special person behind the megaphone. You have the message, you have the ideas, but AI can be the megaphone to let you reach more people.
Can AI at this point do anything to help in like analyzing what's working, what's not working and stuff, and help point us in the right direction?
Yes, that's a strength of AI, is being able to analyze massive data sets. I mean, that's how it was built, was basically, hey, here's the internet. That's your training set.
Yeah.
Like, and all of human literature, pretty much. Like, here you go. And that's what made ChatGPT so amazing, is there was actually GPT-1. I can't remember what year it was. It was like 2017, 2018 or something like that. None of us knew about it. And then they had GPT-2, which blew GPT-1 out of the water in terms of what it could learn. And then GPT-3, and then ChatGPT, when it had enough context to really be useful. And so the training set is really what made it incredibly useful. So its ability to filter through information, to pull out important pieces of information and context, as long as it's trained properly and guided properly, right? To notice things in a bunch of documentation that humans may miss, right? They're sitting there just like eyes glazed over, like, you know, I'm only looking for what I'm looking for or whatever, but AI can go through 50 documents in a millisecond and pull out context or pull out in crucial information. And so when it's analyzing like business metrics or any other kind of information, what is working? What is our click-through rate? And you can even say, like, you know, instead of just telling me an answer, tell me maybe where to look, right? Tell me where to focus on, so that then I can put my precious time into what matters most. So yeah, absolutely. With that is one of its strongest things, is analyzing, summarization, and just basically putting stuff in front of humans to actually make the real decisions.
Are there any tools that you would recommend for that side of stuff? Is it just ChatGPT? Do you need like someone customizing it for you, like Scail? Like, how would someone start using like that analyzing tools?
It's all kind of disjointed right now, and that's kind of also why I started my business, is because people hear all the time, you got to do AI. You got to do AI.
Yeah.
You go on social media, you're going to fall behind if you don't do AI. People are like, okay. So they just open up ChatGPT and I need this for my business. And they copy and paste it out, you know, and they maybe copy and paste it back in. And that's all they know. But there are ways to basically take a business process and almost like it's like a river of data or a river of information. And then you can just drag and drop AI into that process and say, do this little transformation, or pull out this context, or do this thing and then do this. So with like documents or business data, you could have a spreadsheet or a CRM or other software that has all your information. As long as you can feed that to an AI model, then you can say, you know, these are the insights that we're looking for, right? And this is what we want pulled out. And then I want you to put that over in Slack, send a message or send an email or create a report and put it back in my CRM or whatever it may be. Okay. So it is kind of this disjointed process right now of information lives here and AI needs that information context to be useful. So how do we get that out? And so that's where my business comes in. It's like, okay, this is where your information is. This is where it needs to go. And then let's put AI into that process so we can, now you have an AI powered process.
Cool.
So it all depends on what you're using, where the information is, and what you want out of it.
Thanks for joining us. It's been super fun with Preston. If you want more information about AI, go to his website, scaleai.com. See you next time.